One of the reasons we wanted to speak to you so much was because there are not many men in this space of anti-violence against women. Tell us what it's like and how you ended up in that space.
It's one of those spaces where I think anyone, regardless of their gender, doesn't want to or choose to be in the space from the perspective in which I came to work in the area, right? I came to do my advocacy work following the murder of Nikki, my sister, right? That was a way that I sort of started speaking out. And I had sort of reasons as to why. It was one of the things was about how she was represented in the media at the time. You know, being a young woman of colour, the way that her life was valued or rather devalued in contrast to other women's lives, or in particular to the way men's lives sometimes are. And so for me, that was one of the kind of early reasons to get involved in the advocacy. The other was to find something to do with the pain, Yumi, right? There was so much anger that sort of sat underneath my grief. So it was kind of like, what can I do about it? How can I put it into something tangible? And I didn't have a plan, right? Like I didn't come to do this thinking, oh, it's going to lead to anything. It was just a way of processing really early on. As time went by, as we went through a court process, etc., things changed in the sense of I had met so many people doing work in the space. I'd understood what things needed to change more. And I sort of lent my voice to other campaigns to do things as a collective. But at the very beginning, it was really driven by this sense of grief and anger and loss. And it was a way to process it. Because I was so, if you lose someone you love, in any circumstances, you go through a mix of emotions. But when you lose someone you love to murder, it's so acute and it's so painful because there is someone that you can project blame onto. There is someone that is responsible for their death. And so for me, it was like, what do I do with all that emotion? Where do I put it? And so it sort of started in that way. And you're right. There are so few men that are openly speaking about this. That's changing. And I'm really grateful. Like I'm thankful that more men are speaking out. But I think it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a handful of men just saying, hey, committing violence against women is bad for society to change and for these statistics that we're seeing to sort of change. Because at the moment, it's a pretty dire situation. For a country that prides itself on being egalitarian, progressive, Australia is not doing the best by our women, and particularly for women of colour, women from, culturally and racially marginalised groups, and, non-binary folk, they don't have a particularly good run in a country like Australia. And yet we pride ourselves on being so egalitarian.